Hello friends, in this session again we are going to see one of the topic from reasoning, which is inequality. Now this is the topic based on which there will be minimum 3 questions in the exam like RBI Grade B, and in other banking exams you can have up to 5 questions as well from the topic. And it is again one of those topic which I call bonus, because in reasoning, if you see, if you have to score good, if you have to at least clear the cutoff, then you have to have good hand on the typical questions or the easy ones, the bonus ones, because arrangement set, if you try to solve arrangement set in exam like RBI Grade B, and if the set turns out to be tricky, and if you couldn't solve that in given time, then it might be really difficult to clear the cutoff. So that is why the the easy topics in the reasoning, like inequality, like the blood relations, direction sense, syllogisms, those everyone should be comfortable with. And apart from that, if you can score 1 or 2 sets from reasoning, then it will be really good score. So in that series, we are going to see today the inequality. What do you mean by inequality, or what kind of questions do they ask under the inequality? When we say inequality, it is about the comparing of the quantity. So if I say there is a number A or any quantity A which is greater than B, and B itself is greater than C. So now, if it is already provided that A is greater than B, B is greater than C, so can we say A is greater than C as well? So that means if this is the statement, and as we discussed in the previous session of syllogism, statement you have to always consider as the Brahma Satya. Statement is going to be the fact. Based on that, can you conclude this conclusion? If this conclusion can be inferred or can be concluded from this statement, then it is considered to be true conclusion. So can you say A is greater than C? Yes. If you want, you can try putting numbers and then you can derive it. For example, if C is 1, B is going to be greater than that. So you can say B is say 2 and A is going to be greater than 2. So A you can say is 3. So definitely if A is 3, C is 1, A is going to be greater than C. So this is a true conclusion. So this is the type of conclusion that we have to draw from the given statements. If I say A is greater than B is equal to C. Now can we say A is greater than C? Or we can say A is greater than equal to C. Out of these two, which is going to be the true conclusion and which is going to be the false conclusion? If I say C is 1, B is also going to be 1 because B and C both are equal. And A is going to be greater than B. That means A has to be more than 1. So A can be 2, 3, any number more than 2. 2 or more than 2. So definitely if A is going to be 2 or greater than 2 and C is going to be only 1, then definitely A is going to be greater than C. This is going to be a true conclusion. A is greater than equal to C, it will be a wrong conclusion because A is already greater than C. You can't say A is equal to C now. So possibility of A is being equal to C is ruled out. So that means if you have to compare A and C and there are these two signs between them, then you are going to give the priority to this. Or in other words, if this is the sign, then if A is greater than this part, so all elements in this side are going to be greater than this side unless there is some contradiction. So A is going to be greater than B as well and C as well. So this is a true conclusion. This will be a wrong conclusion. Let's see one more example. If I say A is greater than B is greater than equal to C. Now what is going to be the relation between A and C? Is A going to be greater than C? A is going to be equal to C? Or A is going to be greater than equal to C? What kind of relation A and C will have? So as we discussed already, if A is greater than B, if this sign is there, so all the elements on this side are going to be greater than all the elements on this side because this sign exists. Unless there is some contradiction. What do we mean by contradiction? We'll see that later. But right now, because all these signs, they are facing only one side, that is why we can say A is going to be greater than, again, B and C both. So this is going to be a true conclusion. So if A is already greater than C, then equal to C and greater than equal to C are out of questions. Let's consider another example. If I say A greater than equal to B greater than equal to C, then what is going to be the relation between A and C now. So now this time, if I say C is 1, B is going to be 1 or greater than. So B can be 1, 2. Of course, decimals are possibility, but we are considering only integer for the simplicity. So B can be 1, 2, 3, any number. But against B as 1, A can also be 1, 2, 3, all these numbers, because A is greater than equal to B. So A also can be 1, C also can be 1. There is one possibility where both can be equal as well. That means you can say A is going to be either greater or equal to C. This is going to be the true conclusion in this case. Or in practical words, we can just say if same sign exists 2 times between A and C, then you are going to obviously use that particular sign. Let's take another example. If I say A greater than equal to B greater than C, now what is going to be the relation between A and C? So as we discussed already, if this sign exists, then all the elements on this side are going to be greater than elements on this side because it is there without any contradiction. So then A and B both are going to be greater than C. So A is going to be greater than C. This is a true conclusion. This is going to be a true conclusion. If I say A is greater than B, is greater than equal to C, is greater than D, is equal to E, what is the relation between A and E? Now, if you see between A and E, there exist 3 type of different symbols. One is this, one is this, and one is this. So if this symbol already exists, that means all the elements on this side are going to be greater than elements on this side. That means A greater than D as well and E as well. B also greater than D and E. C also greater than D and E both. So that means A is going to be greater than E. In other words, if between A and E, these 3 symbols exist, because this is also same like this. So if these 3 symbols exist between A and E, you are going to give first preference to this. If this exists, then A is going to be greater than E. You are going to give the second preference to this. Greater than equal to will be preferred over equal to. And then if nothing exists out of these 2, then you are going to give the third preference to this side. Got this? What is the relation between B and D? Between B and D, these 2 exist symbols. So we are going to give preference to obviously this. So B is going to be greater than B. Now, what if there is contradiction? If I say A greater than B greater than C less than D is equal to E. Now, if I ask you what is the relation between A and D, now what happens is there is a contradiction. Contradiction means this is facing this side and this is facing this side. So these are the forms of contradiction. If you observe between A and D, 2 symbols exist. One is facing this and one is facing this. That is called as contradiction. So this is also contradiction. This kind also contradiction. This is also contradiction. So all such, this is also contradiction. This is also contradiction. So all such form where the symbols are facing opposite direction of each other, they are called as contradiction. So if contradiction exists between A and D, then we can say no relations can be formed between A and D. No relations can be formed because there exists a contradiction. What is the relation between B and D? Again, contradiction. So we'll say again, no relations can be formed. Got this? But what happens sometimes is there can be 2 conclusions. One is say A is greater than D. A is less than equal to D. This is the conclusion number 1. This is the conclusion number 2. And options are only 1 is 2, only 2 is true, either 1 or 2 is true, neither of these 2 is true, and none of this. These type of options may be there. So which option you are going to mark in that case? As we discussed, between A and D, there is this contradiction exists. So absolutely, if you say A is greater than D, it is not going to be a true conclusion. If you say A is less than or equal to D, that is again a wrong conclusion because contradiction. But if I say there are 2 numbers, X and Y, without knowing what the values of those are, there can only be 3 possibilities. Either X will be greater than Y, either X will be equal to Y, or X will be less than Y. So either this or this or this could happen. So if you see here in these two options, all three possibilities are covered. We say either A will be greater than D, and this option says A will be less than or equal to D. That means either A will be less than D or A will be equal to D. So all three possibilities between A and D comparison wise are covered in both these conclusions together. So 100% first conclusion is also wrong. 100% second conclusion is also wrong. But either of these two have to be true because every possibility is being covered in these two. Okay, so whenever there is a repetition of elements in both the conclusions, you have to be alert because this option then will be the answer where or exists. Either one or two. If it is mentioned in that option, that you have to mark. Got this? And again, this is one of the topic which is again practice oriented. As much practice you'll do, more confusion, the misunderstandings will get avoided, clarity will come, and then you keep getting the answers right, and you can get out of marks in actual exams if you do sufficient practice. So let's do practice directly. This is the first question. It says G less than D less than equal to T less than Y is equal to O, V, R, K, F, O. Conclusion says D and R. The conclusion has the comparison between D and R. But there are two different trends. This is another trend. This is also another trend. If you have to compare these two, you have to find the common element between these two. So what is the common element between these two? That is O. So from D to O, you have to consider this train, and from O to R, you have to consider this train. And then only you can compare D and R in single. So we know D is less than equal to T, is less than Y, is equal to O. Now, after O, you have to see it this. Now, F is greater than O. The mouth should be towards F. K is greater than equal to F. Mouth should be towards K. And R is greater than K. Now, this is how we can get D and R in same train. And now if you observe, there is no contradiction. All the signs are facing only one direction. And that is why you can say D is going to be, because this sign exists. As I said, if this sign is there without contradiction, then all the elements on this side will be greater than all the elements on this side. So R is going to be greater than D. So this is a true conclusion. And between Y and K, now in the same train, you have Y and K. So just observe this much part here. All the three signs exist. This also, and this also between Y and K. When you have to compare only Y and K, forget the other elements. Forget, just observe the signs. Now all three signs exist. So we are going to give the preference to this one. That means K is going to be greater than Y. So if you know K is greater than Y, then this is going to be the wrong conclusion. And that is why we are going to mark option number A, only conclusion 1 is true. This is going to be the answer. I hope you got this. Let's see one more. You have to compare between P and S. There is P here, there is S here, but there are two different trains. We have to merge them. So what is the common element between these two? The common element here is going to be N. So you can say S is greater than N, and N is going to be greater than equal to P. This is how you can compare between S and P. So you know S is going to be greater than P. This is a wrong conclusion. T and Y. So for T and Y, T is here, Y is here. So you know N greater than equal to W is equal to J less than equal to T. Of course, you don't have to write it all the time. This is just for the understanding. And as compared to N, U is going to be greater, and as compared to U, Y is going to be greater. So after N, we are joining this part of the another train here. And now you have to compare between T and Y. So T is here, Y is here, and you know there is a contradiction here as well, and this is also the contradiction. So if there is a contradiction, you can't say one element is greater than another. So this is also the false. So neither conclusion will be true. Neither conclusion will be true. Let's see one more. U and E, we have to compare U and E. There are two different trains. This train is different, this train is different, but the common element is L. So you can say U is greater than L is equal to O greater than E. So U will be greater than E here. That is a true conclusion. Second, T and Y. T is here, Y is here. Again, we have to merge these two trains. What is the common element between these two? There is nothing common between these two, U, L, T, P, R, Y, S. So we have to see common between these two, that is P. So you can say U is greater than L. Now between L and P, L is greater, so L is greater than P. And now P and P, R is greater than P, and Y is going to be greater than equal to R. So such a way you can and L is going to be equal to T. So such a way you can get all the elements from T to Y in one tree. So T is equal to L and L is greater than equal to P, but there is a contradiction. So we cannot compare T and Y. So conclusion 2 will be wrong. So we'll say only conclusion 1 is true. Let's see one more. S and B you have to compare. There is S here, there is B here, and the common element between these two is H. So you can say B less than P less than equal to H. And after H, you can just continue this. K will be greater than H. K is greater than equal to R is greater than S. This is how you can get S and B in the same train, but there is clear contradiction here. These and this elements signs are opposite direction. So contradictions, you say this is not true. Y and K. Y is here, so we can just add one more here as a Y. Y and K, if you have to compare, again there will be contradiction. No, there is no contradiction between Y and K. There is no contradiction. There is only one sign or one direction. Everything is facing in one direction. So you know all these elements are going to be greater than Y because this sign. That means K is also going to be greater than Y. That is a true conclusion. So conclusion 2 is going to be the true one. Let's see one more. There are three trains. We have to compare P and S. So P and S, the common element is R. So you can say P less than equal to Q less than R. R is less than S is greater than T. Okay, that is not needed. You just have to compare P and S. Now, between P and S, as you can see, only one direction. So you can say S is going to be greater than P. S is going to be greater than P. That means this is the true. So this is wrong then. S is greater than P, so this is wrong. So only conclusion 1 will be true. Let's see one more. A and D you have to compare. They are in the same train and everything is facing in the same direction. No contradiction. So you can say A is less than D. That is a correct conclusion. G and B you have to see. So G is here, B is here. The common element is there is no common element between these two. So we have to go till C here, and from C you have to continue with F. So you can just say F greater than G for this. Then you can write like this. And then C is equal to B. After C, you can just continue this. And thus you can get everything into the same train. You can say G and B. Everything is facing in the same direction. That means you can say there is no contradiction. So B is going to be greater than G. That is also true conclusion. So both conclusions are true. Let's see next one. You have to compare K and O. O is here, K is here. And the common element is L here and M here. So we'll have to get that part as well. So you say K less than L. L is less than N. N is less than M. M is less than P. P is equal to O. We have to compare K and O. everything is facing in the same direction. So obviously K is going to be lesser than O. That is a correct conclusion. M and K. M is going to be greater than K. Yes, that is also a true conclusion. So both conclusion true is going to be the answer. They are in the same train here. Z and C. Z is here, C is here. Till Z to C, everything is facing in the same direction, no contradiction. So definitely Z is going to be greater than C. That is a true conclusion. X and W. So till X to W, everything is facing in the same direction. So no contradiction. That means W is going to be greater than X. That is also a true conclusion. So both conclusions are true. Option number D. Q and M. So you know Q is here, M is here. So common element between these two is L. So you can write like this. L greater than equal to M. And after L, you can just continue this till Q. S is going to be greater than equal to L is equal to R. So if you now have to compare between Q and M, so there exist these three signs. That means Q is going to be greater than equal to M. So Q is greater than M, false. Q is equal to M, false. But either of these two will be true because how do you read it? Q is greater than or equal to M. So Q will be either greater or equal to. Either this will be there or this will be there. So we mark option number E, which says either conclusion 1 or 2 is true. Let's see one more. S and Q. S is here, Q is here. Let's get everything in the same train. It will be easy. S less than T. Now we can just add this R. Now after R, we can add this. R is greater than equal to Q. After Q, we can add this. P is greater than Q, like this. So everything is in the same train now. S is equal to Q, no. There is a contradiction between S and Q, no. T is greater than equal to P, no. There is a contradiction. There is a contradiction between these two signs. So no, that is again not a true conclusion. So we mark neither is true. Let's see one more. K and I. K is here, I is here. So we can just merge it like this. K less than R greater than equal to Y. The common element here is R. So after R, you can continue it this. R is greater than I, it says. R is greater than I. So between K and I, there is a contradiction. R is greater than K and R is greater than I as well. So you can say, no, that is a wrong conclusion. I and Z. So here, I is equal to N. And N is less than equal to E is less than Z. So because Z is greater than I is the conclusion, that is going to be a true conclusion. So option number 2, only conclusion 2 is true. And K. N is here, K is here. There is no common element, so we can just merge it like this. K is here as well. There is again no common element. Okay. So we can first merge it like this. N and I. N greater than I. Then I to G. I greater than C greater than equal to G. And G is equal to K. So between and K, there is no contradiction. Everything is facing in the same direction. So you can say N is greater than K. That is going to be a true conclusion. C and T. T is here. So you can just add one more T here. T is greater than K. So between C and T, there is a contradiction. This sign and this sign, they are facing in opposite directions. So you can say, no, that is a wrong conclusion. M and J. M is here, J is here. So you can say M greater than equal to I. Then I greater than C greater than equal to G from here. And G is equal to K. K is greater than equal to J. This is how you can get M and J in the same train. There is no contradiction and this sign exists. So M will be greater than J is a wrong, this is a wrong conclusion. M will be greater than J, not lesser. So only conclusion 1 follow will be the correct one. Let's see next one. P and H. So we have B common here, B to X and X to H. This is how you can merge. B is greater than equal to P, X is greater than B, and X is greater than equal to H. So there is a contradiction between P and H. As you can see, this and this are opposite sign. This is not true. P is equal to H will also not be true because there is a contradiction. R and X. So for R, we have to write this till Y. R is greater than Y. Then Y to X. Y is equal to H. H is less than equal to X. There is a contradiction. This sign and this sign opposite direction. So between R and X, there won't be any conclusion like this. So that is also wrong. So none of the conclusion follow is the answer. Let's see one more. You have to compare C and G. G is here, C is here. The common element is D. So you can just say G less than D less than H greater than C. So there is clear contradiction between G and C. So that is not true. H and A. H is here, A is here. The common element is C. H is greater than C and C is less than A. So there is also contradiction between H and A. This also won't follow. Neither one or two follows. Y and Z. There is Y here, there is Z here. The common element is X. So you can say X less than Y and X greater than equal to Z. So there is no contradiction. So you can say Y will be greater than equal to Z. So 100% this is also not true. This is also not true. But we know Y is greater than equal to Z. So it will be either greater or equal. So the answer will be either conclusion 1 or 2 follows. Let's see one more. Now, this is the question from RBI Grade B. Let's see this one. See this? DR, LW, R, T, G, GL. Conclusions are in terms of G and R. So G and L is here, L to R is here. Now we can, if you can directly see, it will be really helpful. G is greater than L, but L and R, there is a contradiction. So between G and R also there will be contradiction. As you can see, G greater than L, L greater than equal to W, less than equal to R. So there will be contradiction between L and R, G and R. So this is the wrong conclusion. T and W. So T to G here, G to L here, L to W here. T greater than G, G greater than L, L greater than equal to W. So no contradiction. And we know T will be greater than W. That is a true conclusion. W and D. So you can just add this one here. D will be greater than R, like this. So between W and D, there exists this sign. That means D will be greater than W, not equal to, it will be greater than. So this is also wrong conclusion. So answer that we are going to mark is only 2 is true. Only 2 is true. We have to compare C and F. F is here, C is here. There is nothing common. Okay, C is here as well. And the common element is D. So you can say F greater than G less than equal to D is equal to E less than equal to C. Between F and C, there is a contradiction because these two signs are opposite direction. So no, we can't say definitely this. E and A. E is here, A is here. There is a C common between these two. So you can say E less than equal to C. And after C, you can just continue till A here. So C will be less than equal to B. B will be less than A. There is no contradiction here. Between E and A, there is this sign that tells us A will be greater than E. That is again a wrong. A has to be greater than G and B. B is here, G is here. The common element is nothing. So we can just add into this one. Because you know that B is greater than equal to C. So B is greater than equal to C. So in this case, between G and B, there is no contradiction. And this sign will prevail because all 3 times there is this sign. So G will be less than equal to B. This is again going to be a wrong conclusion. So that means none is true. None is true is the answer. We have to compare M and N. M to K is here. K to L is here. L to O is here. And O to N is here. So we can just merge in one train. We can write is first P greater than O greater than equal to L. L to K we can write is like this. L less than equal to J is equal to K. K is less than M. We have to compare M and N. So here, till here we can say everything will be equal. But N will be less than N. So between M and N, there exists the contradiction. So you say no relations form. L and M. Between L and M, there is this sign. So that means M will be greater than L. P and N. For P and N, we can just look at this sign till O. P is greater than O and O is greater than N. So yes, P will be greater than N. That is a true conclusion. So 2 and 3 both are true. Let's see next one. S and M, T and S. For S and M, we can take the use of these two because there is a P common element. S less than equal to T, less than P, less than equal to M. So there is no contradiction here between S and M. This sign will prevail. That means M will be greater than S. That is wrong conclusion. M has to be greater than S. T and S. For T and S, there is only one train and there is no contradiction. So this sign will prevail. T will be greater than S. That is a true conclusion. So only two, that definitely follows. There is no question of either, neither. Only two is true will be the correct answer. Let's see this one. T and R. So T is here, R is here. The common element is M between these two. So we'll have to merge everything. So first we'll go till P. We'll write T is equal to P till here. After P, you will write this. So P is less than equal to M. M has to be greater than equal to P. And R is greater than equal to M. R is greater than equal to M. So between R and D, there are two signs, but we are going to prefer this one. That means R is going to be greater than equal to D. So R is either greater or equal. So, you know, in this case, you mark the option number B. Either one or two is true. Let's see one more. LTDJ. L is here, T is here. The common element is U. So you'll read it as L greater than equal to J greater than equal to U. After U, you are going to continue here. U is greater than T. So between L and T, there is no contradiction. This sign will prevail. L will be greater than T. It's a true conclusion. T and J. T is here, J is here. The common element is P. J greater than equal to U, less than equal to P. And D is less than equal to P. So there is a contradiction between these two. So J and P will be greater than equal to D. This is D. So between J and D, there is no conclusion, no relations can be formed. So answer will be that is wrong. So only first conclusion is true. Option number E. Only conclusion one is true. X and V, V and Q. Sorry, Q and V and V and Q. Q is here, V is here, the common element is Z. V less than equal to Z greater than Q. So yes, there is a contradiction. No relations can be formed between V and Q. So 100% this also not true, 100% this also not. But either Q will be greater than V, or V will be greater than Q, or they will be equal. So all three possibilities are covered in these two conclusions. So we say either one or two is true. Option number C. PTCD. P is here, T is here. The common element is C. So we say B greater than C. Afterwards, we write it here. C is equal to O greater than T. So there exists this sign that tells us B is greater than T is a true conclusion. C and D. C and D, they are there in the same train. And there is same sign both time. So we say C is greater than equal to D. It's a correct conclusion. So if both the conclusion are true, option number E is the answer. B greater than T. B to C and C to T. You can merge it like this. B greater than C is equal to O greater than T. So we know B is greater than T. That will be a true conclusion. C greater than equal to D. C to D, same train. C greater than equal to. Okay, I think we did the same question. So both conclusions true. Okay, so I think it's a pretty easy topic. Still, you do practice, sufficient practice. And and based on which you can just make yourself good at this topic. Thank you for watching this video.